All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Melanin Minds, where we are doing things, but all those things have to do with Black women, and that's all I'm going to do. I am your host, Natasha, and of course, I have my lovely co-host Ty over here.
Hi.
Why do you keep?
I'm sorry. The intro music was such a vibe. It was like I was like, damn,
People be
that's
like,
good.
it's such a vibe. Like she didn't pick this song.
I did pick this song, which is
Pick
why
this
it's
song.
so fun. I was
It is a
like,
vibe.
that's
Like
good.
this song is like I love it so much, and I feel like it fits the vibe that we try to have here, where we're not acting like we don't have any sense.
Absolutely. I still ain't got no sense.
I said when we're not acting like it. So we
Oh,
try to put on the facade that we got some
oh,
sense.
friend, I never put on that facade. I'd fail. I just ain't got no sense. That's what my mama say anyway.
Well,
That's what she said.
moms, they know what they're talking about most of the time, I guess.
Most of the time, like I would say 32% of the time she got it. That's not most, but she got it that 32%. Let me not
I
say that.
will
I don't want
admit,
this to
as
get
a
into my
mom, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about most of the time. So I
we
also meant
talk
to ask, did you get a new backlight or something? Because you got colors back there now. Usually it's just black.
you know yeah, that's when I normally pull this out when I do put my backdrop up, but I just keep forgetting. It's really
Oh,
that I just keep forgetting, and then I lose the remote. And then today, as I was cleaning up my office, I was like, the remote. So I
that's my
plugged
only
it in.
issue with lights is you can never remember where you put the
What?
remote.
Where
Just
is the LED remote? Never knew. So yeah, I put the remote back up, and now it's all fun
pretty.
again. I feel like I'm back. I need to deep clean my office, but we'll get to
Been saying that for like a year.
it. Every day of my life, I say that. It's never getting done. But if I keep
Saying that
saying
since
it,
I was there.
one day it'll
This-
happen.
That's fair. We're gonna stop harping on the light. You can watch the light show while throughout the rest of the video. Today, of course, we have a very special guest, okay? And I'm going to try to keep this brief because I could talk about her forever, but I'm sure you'd rather she talk about her than listen to me. But of course, before that, I want to tell you about this creator who went from the science lab to the writing lab after graduating from the University of Illinois, right? She went from research scientist to comic researcher, like the play on words, right? Comic
Mhm.
memer to comic writer, and then took the comic world by storm, starting in web comics and then eventually writing for DC and Marvel, from Nubia to Moon Girl. La 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 la. I could list credits all day. She's got over 100 writing credits to her name, so I'm not going to sit here and list every single thing she's done. So you know her, you love her. We absolutely adore her, Stephanie Williams.
Hey y'all.
Stop doing that thing.
Woo! Woo, 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 woo. Woo, woo,
Um,
woo, woo, woo.
as a warning, because it's been that type of day, that type of week, that type of month. If my eyes get a little low, that's because she went outside to partake in a little bit of girl don't set it off joint. So
This is
there
a
we have
Zen zone. This is the Zen zone. So just be Zen. Sit back here and do like
it.
this,
Oh, it's
and
gonna be then.
we will just be
That's
Zen.
trying to get
Can't
like
say
you
that
for
I'm
real.
the others, part because that stuff drives me my throat. But
Yeah,
I'm here for support.
I appreciate that.
You know, the fun part is the older you get, the more you engage with people in this community, the more you realize that what people use to self-soothe, I'll say. And I've ran into, I guess a lot of people are now deciding they're like, oh, I'm going to saying I want a clean lifestyle, and I'm like, yeah, clean lifestyle, huh? How's that working out? Me,
By clean is me not doing
mm,
anything that requires me to go to jail. So that is
yeah,
me living a clean
There you
life.
go.
that
See.
is.
There we go.
I
Also,
got all my
clean
digits.
lifestyle is usually like you want to have that good 80-20, right?
Right.
Balance.
Yes.
Balance. You have to know when and where.
Yes.
Hmm. Be responsible, y'all. We're not endorsing
That's
anything.
that's that's what it is. At the end of the day, just be responsible.
Be responsible.
Take care of your responsibilities, get everything off your task list, and then, the rest of the time is yours.
There you go. Boom. Now, I did a short introduction, trying not to talk all day. And we're going to start this with the most basic, boring question that you've probably said 1,000 times that I've probably heard, because I always be partaking in interviews, even if I've already seen them before I get anybody else on. But, let people who, for some reason, don't know who you are know who you are and how you got here.
Yes. I will try to give the make this a long story short if I can. All right. So of course, Stephanie Williams. Yeah, I went from working in a lab to sitting in front of my computer making up stuff. So, and that like how do we get from that? So I want to say like almost 10 years ago. Yeah, because my son will be 10 next month. That is when the shift began to happen. I said to myself, already made my life insanely complicated by becoming a mom or just a parent in general because trying to keep kids alive is a lot. So if I can do that, then why am I playing it safe and staying at this job that I have because it was the next logical thing to do after graduating from school. But my love was always writing. So after having him, I reached out to a Black romance author whose work I was like really enjoying at the time, was like really inspiring me. And she emailed me back. Her name is Maureen Smith. And it was a very heartfelt email that encouraged me so much that I ended up going out and buying a new laptop that weekend because I needed one. Like the laptop I had was like a compact. I had it since freshman year of college. It was no good. So from there, I started blogging, talking about my parental experiences. Got on Twitter because at the time it was still like a viable piece of social media where you can actually like build community, find community, and so on and so forth. And then from there, went to podcasting, talking about comics and just mainly focusing on Black characters or Black women specifically in comics. And that went really well, so well that ended up getting an invite to the Kennedy Art Center. And I think that's when it hit me that, oh, this is something like we're headed somewhere, don't know exactly where, but we're headed in a direction that is getting us closer to what's going to make us feel fulfilled. And literally the week after going to the Kennedy Art Center in 2018, the podcast ended. So I had all this research for season 3. The podcast was called Missy Knight's Uninformed Afro. And someone was kind enough to suggest for me to pitch what I had to, editor at Sci-Fi Wire. And the very first piece I ever got paid for was called The Evolution of Dora Milaje from Comics to Movies, because Black Panther had came out that year. And that felt great. I said, wow. So instead of just tweeting my thoughts and my takes for free, I can actually get paid by, doing what someone else would have done anyway, which was taking my tweets and turn it into payable content. So I did that for a while. And yeah, that was really dope. That's how I ended up honing my voice along with memeing on Twitter. And next thing I knew, I started making comics myself because I was, talking about them all the time. So I felt like it was time to actually get creative. And instead of focusing on what I wish was different or, changes I would like to see, good old Toni Morrison, go ahead and make the things that you want to see. So Parenthood Activate came in 2019. Around this time, I had finally resigned from my job at the lab and ended up going full force with just writing, freelance writing, and making comics on the side. Living Heroes came out of that, which was really dope. Wasn't expecting that to get fully funded on Kickstarter. And later that year, 2020, finally got an email from the editor at Marvel because they were already aware of me. Like they were sharing my memes and stuff in the X-Men Slack. So asking me did I want to write a 2-page story for Marvel Voices Legacy, and I did. And the week that came out, spoke to an editor at DC, thanks to Vita Ayala, who suggested me for what I later found out was Nubia and the Amazons. And the rest has kind of been, well, no, the rest has not been history because I'm currently in it. So it's been all gas, no breaks since then.
Love it. So I had a thought earlier because I love how you not only focus on Black women, but also focus on knowledge and history when you're trying to write your stories. And you said something about making sure, like even with one of your creator-owned books that you're writing, it's done. I mean, I guess you are still writing it because other issues have to come after the fact.
No,
But,
I'm actually done.
oh, you are good.
So,
Okay.
so
Get off.
literally today, I just turned in the last issue for one
Yay.
of them, and the other one was done a little while ago. So, no, yeah, you're right.
But yeah, you said you like to. Of course, we like to focus on Black women,
Mm-hmm.
and we like to focus on history and like knowing the history behind certain events so that we learn more about our history
Mm-hmm.
while also, my husband hates this word, but I'm going to say it, consuming
Yeah.
the comic medium. And that really resonated with me because I love to do the same thing. Almost every character I write is a Black woman.
Yeah.
And in a lot of what we try to do is put like history and real science and stuff in our stories. And so when you said that, I was like, that really, really resonates with me. And so like what really I kind of lost my train of thought. Helps inspire and keep you going to continue on that mission to make sure that that gets out to as many people as possible.
Um, it's multiple factors, but it's funny, the guiding light or my North Star, funny enough, has been historical Black romance, because of Beverly Jenkins. Precisely her though, because she was my first time interacting with a story that takes place in 1600s, 1700s or whatever, right? These are supposed to be times that is not very good times for us, right? But that's because a lot of though that sharing of that history has came from voices that are not ours. So of course they would focus on all of the negative and what we could and could not do.
Mm.
But through her, even though all of these circumstances still exist, you get a very nuanced female character, Black woman, in a starring role that is worthy of love and also very capable of taking care of herself and saving herself, but not to being too strong, that she or not being considered to be so strong that she is not deserving of love. She's able to break and be vulnerable, all of these things. And again, like all of this is happening with the setting that it is. And I think it was through her. I think of Toni Morrison with Beloved and how, we have this very important piece of a genre to the horror, I think, where we're taking a story that, or, it's inspired by a story that really happened, but, weaving speculative fiction around it. Like I love that. And more recently, we just got that in Sinners. So it's important because for me, comics is just such a wonderful way to introduce people to topics that, I don't know, might make them feel uncomfortable. I mean, you got to be uncomfortable in order to learn, but comics is a nice way to kind of Trojan horse that. Right. There's been things that I've learned about through reading comics that I go back and I check out. I think the very first time I learned about affirmative action was an Avengers comic. So that was like the first time Sam Wilson joined the Avengers on top of that. So it's just important. I got a 10-year-old or soon to be 10-year-old, and I know that as he gets older, books are going to continue to get removed. History is going to continue to be shared in a very specific way that does not highlight everything that has happened in our history, in American history. So I just think it's so important to make sure that not only are we teaching this history, but we are also building stories of triumph and encouragement and all of these things because it's needed. It's always going to be needed.
I agree so much. Ty, before I step on your toes, do you have anything?
Not step on my toes. I really like this idea. I really like this idea of education through comics, like improving literacy through comics.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, we're in a time where literacy and education in a whole host of areas, but especially in critical race theory. Ooh, boogeyman.
Mhm.
And black American history, or just history of anybody that's not, you know not the color of sandpaper,
Yes.
or lesser than. Those stories are getting actively suppressed, but comics is still one of those places where you do kind of get you see people slipping in that history. You still get to have very very nuanced stories. I feel like sometimes people think that comics are so like just a boys club. Like there's no like, of course, people put blinders on. Marvel and DC will still dominate the space, but I love that even in these spaces, we still get to have, when there's the opportunity for nuanced voices, for diverse voices, they come through and they just have so much to say. With all that being said, what are your feelings on putting on literacy in comics specifically? As someone who's been an academic, you were an academic, you worked in the lab, and then moving over to writing in comics. How has your feelings about literacy in comics changed from just kind of passively consuming them to now you're actually in the writer's chair?
Um, now I feel I don't want to say burden because it doesn't feel like that. Um, I feel honored to be in a place to make sure that we're seen and heard. And our stories and our history get the due respect that they deserve. And then also on top of that, being able to do that outside of February, being able to do that outside of June 19th, and it's year round. And also it's not limited to just, a specific type of book. Uh, you know, to be able to slip in some history in, like Street Sharks, for instance, My Little Pony, these different things, and find creative ways to um, yeah, creative ways to one, hopefully get children wanting to read, especially for the things that I'm writing that's like middle grade and for them, and help with their understanding and overall literacy because, comics is just such a beautiful medium to help and make somebody a stronger reader because you get the visual context clues to, understand what's going on if you happen to not know what the word is and what the definition is. Like, I think that's amazing. And also, like, for me, whatever gets the kids reading, whatever makes them stronger, I fully support it. Like my son, the way that we were able to get him to read wasn't even graphic novels, it was actually RPG video games because he wanted to play
Nice.
those, but they require you to read. So for a little bit we would sit with him and read it, but also encourage him to start figuring that out. And then graphic novels came. So I would really say, honestly, just being, his mother and seeing the importance of media literacy through him, that just makes me feel, again, like extremely honored to be in a place to add to that. And hopefully, the kids are the future. So hopefully add a positive impact to that.
Mm.
So can we could just because man, people don't understand that so bad. Because my son also learned to read through graphic novels. He
Yes.
wouldn't pick up any other kind of book. I
Yeah.
taught him how to read, and then every book he has a whole collection of his own graphic novels. They're mostly Five Nights at Freddy's and Dog Man and Cat Kid, but like
A
Hey,
man of my own making.
okay.
I know
For the
he loves
culture.
Dog Man and Cat Kid.
Yes.
People to
A
understand.
man after
And I feel like comic creators, we have a responsibility, and we are burdened with the glorious purpose of making sure people can understand literacy
Yes.
using comic books.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I know I'm about to be all over the place because I'm trying to at least touch a little bit on everything I wanted to get to in some kind of way, even if we can't like have a whole. So I did, and God dang it, my brain just Roots of Madness.
Hmm.
I had a quick question about that, like real quick. I have a lot of questions about that. This is the one I was going to get to real quick. Etta, I know her name is Etta. Is there any specific inspiration behind the name? Because I know where my brain immediately went.
Yes, my grandmother's. So she is named after my maternal grandmother. It's a mix of her name as well as my paternal great grandmother's name, and then her mother. my parental grandmother. So I try, because the story is really focused on women and just different things that we pass on to each other. It was so important to me to honor them in that way by making them, characters in this, well, not making, but naming characters after them in this book.
Gotcha. Okay. I love that. I
Mm.
always love that. Another question I had about Roots of Madness, because I know that a part of it was inspired by a romance novel. And
Hmm.
I know from what you've said about it, most of that stuff from the romance novel was more of the historical elements. But did it inspire any kind of romantic subplot or side story or through line or anything alongside of that?
So you know what's funny? No.
Okay.
So the fact that that does not exist in that way, or you know what? I'm gonna leave it up to the readers to interpret, because there's a chance that there is a slow burn situation that would possibly pick up in volume 2. We end up doing that for this book, but consciously no, but subconsciously
Yes.
yeah. But that's why it's funny, like when I share that with folks, 'cause I'm like, no, actually, what the biggest inspiration from that book was a historical aspect, and not even us. And it was a contemporary romance novel on top of that. So the weaved in historical aspect is what really just made me say, well, damn, okay, I this was smart. So like, how can I achieve this?
Gotcha. And then on the ancestors,
Hmm.
as far as, whether I know you're not going to get too into, I know it was a yes and no as far as their approval. Will she ever stop to ponder whether or not they would approve? Or is
Yeah,
that
so that's
also
the it's I don't want to, yeah, so this is that journey of taking what it is that you've learned from your family, what has been the knowledge that's been passed on to you that has really more so been for mere survival, and not necessarily to propel yourself forward.
Mhm.
So what does that look like when you do that? And are you concerned with the way they would feel about what you're doing? Because also at the end of the day, like for my character specifically, the reason why this is a cosmic horror, because I thought it was the best way to explore the void, like going beyond, not even just in a cosmic sense, but like just going beyond where anyone in your family has gone, going beyond anyone within your community has gone, and how people can only help you so far, because they haven't been there before. You're the first one to go and define what that journey is for yourself and what that looks like. So, like, how do you contextualize that for yourself? How do you, who do you answer to? Because again, like you become like this guiding, like you become this lighthouse, but also at the same time you're both a lighthouse and also the ship trying to be on your way. So like, how does that work? It's very complicated. This book is cathartic for me in a way, because me going from safe science job to creative writing, no one in my family has done anything close to that. So I'm not only taking what I've learned from this job, but also different things that my parents have instilled in me to help me be successful, or I'm using those lessons to help me be successful or find success, right now, currently, what I'm doing creatively. But the knowledge that was not direct, or maybe not even for its intents and purposes, but I am repurposing it for what I need to move myself forward. Ooh, that was long, but my bad.
No, no, that was wonderful. That was wonderful. I feel like there's a lack of deeply ancestral stories. Like when we're talking about black representation in comics, I've seen a lot of stories where it's either it's Africa, where we're talking about
Mhm.
like the motherland, the homeland, birthplace. We're
Mhm.
talking about civil rights era, Jim Crow era,
Mhm.
or we're talking about like these flash moments, but we never really get, like, I feel like the first time we ever really talk, like no one in my experience, I have not seen someone talk about specifically African American, Black American spirituality, this deep, like our version of ancestral veneration, as if that's not something that we have a connection to, or
Mhm.
our connection to the other, to the beyond, to the unknown, because we as Black Americans have our own unique set of history surrounding that. So this is one of the first stories I've seen that actually tackles that, which is so cool. um,
No, I agree.
um, and first, I did want to ask, just in case anyone wasn't familiar with your comic, Roots of Madness. Do you mind just giving a small synopsis about
Sure.
it?
Yeah, so Roots of Madness is a comic that is, I guess you can classify it as kind of like an alternate history, because the idea there is, what if Madam CJ Walker was more of a chemist than an entrepreneur? What would that possibly look like? So taking that as the foundation, it becomes this, or it is this exploration, like I said, in ties to generational curses, or not even just that, just generational burdens. Also, just this hair aspect, and even like moving deeper beyond that, because on the surface level, like, this seems to be a story that is about, trying to create, a product for us to use on our hair. But no, the driving force behind my character's motivations on surface is that, but below is this desire, this curiosity to make something and control something, that is for our benefit, that she's been told that she cannot do and she should not do and she should stay away from, but never being given a full reason why she should. So, this is somebody whose intent is good, but it's also, sometimes just because our intent is good does not mean that the outcomes of what we do are always in alignment with that. So how do you live with that? So she goes to Savannah, Georgia, goes back to the place where her ancestors are from. It is a burned down plantation that the person who reached out to her has, a group of people have reclaimed. So it's also a story about reclamation and what that looks like. And they've set up this institute, this fellowship, that you could think about it as like the Prince Hall Freemasons, but without any type of bounds. Uh, all knowledge is acceptable knowledge. There is no there is no parameters. And when you have these type of resources to you, and at this time, the sky is the limit, but it's very scary what you find among the stars.
That was amazing. That was awesome. That's actually wonderful.
I
You-
just- yeah.
yeah, yeah, definitely. This might be her book or whatever. um, in addition to writing Roots of Madness, you also have the book Temporal that
Mhm.
is currently up for pre-order, and you worked on Street Sharks.
Yeah,
Woo, woo,
yeah.
woo.
Mhm.
But just in general, your career and your tenure is, you've got so much range. You've just worked on just a little bit of everything, ever from mid-grade books. Now you're working on this horror book, things that you have. How have you been able to kind of move from place to place within these genres? Because each of these genres, a writer is a writer, so you always have your skill set with you. But
Mhm.
were there any challenges that you faced writing in these different genres or for these different audiences?
Yeah, I would say pacing. Because once you figure that out, it kind of makes things a little bit easier to navigate. And I had to really crack that code, especially with the cosmic horror, because, or just a horror book in general, that's a comic, because you don't get the same benefit as if it's on film or it's a TV show, like, because there's jump scares, there's atmospheric things to it, right?
Mhm.
So you kind of have to figure out how to like visualize that and still give that feeling of dread from somebody reading a book. So for me, because I'm somebody who has to immerse myself into whatever it is that I'm working on. It was reading a lot of Junji Ito, so that's helped me. So like when I'm switching gears between different genres, especially things that I'm a little unfamiliar with, like immersing myself into the works of those that have done it great, even the works that are not so great, so I can just kind of editorial, put my editor's hat and figure out why it didn't work and what could happen to make it work. And by doing that in practice, like that helps. And then at the very end of the day, I think too, it's not so hard for me to switch gears when it comes to different genres, because at the very end of the day, like the base of my characters is making sure that you can relate to them, whether they're sharks with abs, they're a young Black woman at the turn of the century of 1905, or they're this ex-time thief mom who decides to go back for one more score. Regardless, you're going to find something to relate to that character, and then we'll let the story take you where it is, and you'll get out of it whatever it is supposed to be, like genre wise. But I think because making not didn't mean to curse, but making things relatable is what really helps me kind of traverse so freely the way that I do between these genres. Also, like you said, like a writer is a writer, and for me, I feel that, and I feel like this is the most pretentious thing I'm ever going to say, but I feel like I let my stories take me where they need to go. Like I have a general idea, but you know, I love one of my favorite things is seeing the story unfold and it's still working out and it's still making sense regardless of like what's in the outline. Like it's not too far off, but like really letting the story unveil itself before you as you tell it. I think that is just one of the most beautiful things about writing, because you just, I don't know, like you kind of know, you don't know where you're going to go. Like you can have a destination, but you just don't know what that journey is going to look like to get there.
I personally don't think that was pretentious, but at the same time, I also think, every so often we got to be a little pretentious, a little prideful, be like, look, I do good work, and
Yeah,
Right.
I do because I'm awesome. Like the end of conversation. And I love so much because of you already know that we have pretty much every My Little Pony book you've written.
thank you. Because kids don't like Gen 5, so I appreciate that.
Well, I only gotten to read like 2 of them because somebody keeps taking them before I can read them. My daughter loves your work, but that's okay. I still have my books, but I love that you're going towards some more creator stories, and loving to get to see you spread your wings where you're not bound by someone else's creation, because you definitely have more than enough talent in your pinky toe to
Thank
be
you.
doing this. And I am curious, and we're gonna wrap it up, trying to get these last couple out, if there's any like scrapped characters or ideas that just are still living rent free in your head, but you haven't gotten the chance to really create that story yet.
Yes. And if you would have asked me this last week, it was yes. But I finally did get a chance to actually, make something of it and sent it off. And I think it is going to be a green light for it. But yeah, like even today, some thoughts have come to me about something that I would like to do to kind of have a outlet for this frustration that I currently have for my 9 to 5. And you should never piss a writer off, because next
Yeah.
thing you know, you're in somebody's story and not great things are being said about you. So yeah, it's funny, like it feels insidious, and I'm like, you know what, there's a way that I can rechannel this and make it into, I don't know, the next dystopian hit. This is what
Ooh.
it feels like.
Creativity.
Mm,
There's always
mm,
something brewing, even when you don't need to.
exactly.
That's how
Even when
you
you
got
don't.
here in the
Yes.
first place. Y'all talking about Madam C.J. Walker, and you said, "Oh, you know what? Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
sorry."
It's like that's so fun to like, even temporal, the way that came about was from a very unserious conversation. Like most of my ideas, I was talking to a friend and we were talking about like when I'm at conventions, how I end up turning into Laura Croft. because my son is like a huge retro gamer, and I'm looking for like these
Mm.
old things. And I was like, oh, okay, well, what if we change the setting? And I think I had just finished watching Time Cop, and there was an interesting piece in that world. The movie overall is what it is, but there's interesting components to the world building that I was like, maybe we can explore that a little bit. Like, what if stealing things from the past was an actual currency? Like, what if time travel was like, you know, the new business industry, and like, what does that look like, and so on and so forth. So from thinking about that, it grew into this bigger thing that for me felt like, you know, just a sci-fi adventure romp starring a Black woman that is just a good time. It was just a joy to write. I say that there's no deeper meaning to take away from it. Of course, I'm exploring themes of motherhood and identity and what that looks like. But at the very end of the day, it is just a sci-fi romp starring a Black family. And we're just hopefully having a good, entertaining time.
You can have fun and a message. See, guys?
Yes.
Right.
Words. I don't know why y'all get this. Any finals before I go out on a fun? I wanted to go out on a fun question this week. So, do you have anything else? Because
You know, just that, Stephanie, you are truly someone that I the more and more I find out about your craft, the more I read your books, the more I get to know you as a person. Because, you know, I'm lucky. Everyone else is lame because I actually get to talk to you. But
and we always have a good time.
Yeah, we always have such a good time. But the more and more I get to learn from you, I find myself just genuinely enlightened, and I find myself inspired. And it's inspiring, and it keeps wanting me to say, you know, if you're a Black woman and you want to be in this industry, please do not limit yourself. You can literally start from anywhere. Please get in this industry. I need more of us. I need more of this. And
I need more people to invite on the show.
Yes, I need more people. Yes. We need more people to talk to, because just like, and again, Stephanie, I'm just thankful you're here. I'm glad that you decided to start writing. I'm very happy.
Yeah, well, thank you, and that means a lot, because that's the biggest thing. Like, I just want to inspire more folk, especially Black women, to feel like your story matters, whatever that story is. I don't care. Like, just we need it. It's gonna find its correct audience. Like, it's still very much a boys' club around here, and I'm tired. So if come join me, please.
Look, I'm in
Please.
Groups surrounded by them, and just
not surrounded by them.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, it is almost spooky season, so that's a
It is almost spooky season.
Oof. But I do want to end that on some fun real quick. Yes. I thought of a couple, but I feel like I know this is just like right up your alley. If you could take any character you've written and give them a podcast, who would it be and what would they talk about?
Oh my God. You know what? It will be the Bolton brothers, so the Street Sharks. It would be all four of them, and the podcast would be called Feeding Frenzy. And they would literally just talk about new snacks that are coming to hit the market. And yes, that's all they would talk. It would just be full of that and aquatic puns the entire time.
Oh,
yeah, I'm here for
that's
that.
So funny. Yes, I want that tomorrow. I want that tomorrow.
It's giving ASMR too, because they'll be chewing on metal or whatever whatever the brothers like to do. Yes.
So like they need to go ahead and greenlight for you to do that, because like DC be having their little their podcast and stuff, so they need to greenlit that. You write the episodes, they get some voice actors, and
yes, absolutely.
Quick little 10-minute thing. That's all.
Right, nothing crazy. Nothing crazy.
It's entertaining. People would love it. All right, you got great ideas here, and you already got it on staff. So like,
go ahead,
let's make it happen.
Greenlight it.
All right. So real quick, I'm gonna go on to the Black Women in Comics fact of the day. I felt this one was very fitting, and I haven't really talked about it because I haven't We haven't done an episode really since this happened. So, did you know that Sarah Macklin in June of 2025 led the charge on the first ever all Black women comic book anthology? And it's fully funded and it's ready to go. So, if you supported it, congratulations. If you missed it, well, you just have to wait a little bit, but you'll still be able to get, the book itself. You can't get the amazing hardcover, unfortunately, but you can still get the amazing book. All right. 10 stories, all Black women.
Yes.
That's it. So
Yes.
that is an accomplishment. Stephanie and I are both on it. So, like, there's not much more to say except just, dang, Sarah, she killed that.
Absolutely did.
Killed that. And I'm proud to, in a sense, have been able to work with you. Um, other than that, Stephanie, first and foremost, do you have any words of advice for others just trying to come in?
Yes. To come into the comic space?
Yes.
Yes. It's not sexy advice, but you got to do it. So whether it's writing your story in paragraph form, like a short story, and then later looking at scripts and figuring out how to format it, we can only know and sharing on your story, your joy, you have to share it. And that's it. So it's okay. Like, listen, you're not supposed to be perfect coming out the gate. The point is to make it exist so that you can build from there. So I would like to encourage you. I don't care how silly it is. It could be a thong, going to the thong song party or something like that. I don't know. Cisco is given is the DJ for the night. Whatever it is, please write it because we
Men
need
have written worse.
Men have
Oh.
written. Oh God!
Mhm.
Stop.
Earlier in the front page, I was just like,
Triggered.
what is this, huh?
Yeah, triggered. Triggered. They write so badly. You can't write worse than a man, I assure you.
No, you would have to try very hard, and even still.
God, you have to try so hard.
This is my episodic reminder that this is a safe space for women. Men, if you can handle it, you're welcome. But if not, you can leave.
Or you could, I don't know, do a better job.
Hey,
Yeah. Hire a Black woman editor.
Yeah,
Hire a
there's
Black-
you
three of
know,
them
be
right in front of
nice.
you. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Ah,
There's 3 of them right here.
right.
Yes.
Every single woman on this screen right now has edited comic books.
Yes.
Yes.
Also, you should ask yourself, do I really need to tell this story with a female protagonist? No.
No.
Okay, well, don't. And leave space. Or, we're here. We can do that. It's 2025. That's it. But I don't know. You tell the story that you want to tell, but also just think, just ask yourself. That's all. That was messy. I'm so sorry, but I'm just tired.
That was all of our fault. We was all being
That was all really messy.
But so, you know what's even messier? Not following Stephanie on socials. So Stephanie,
Yeah.
if you please go ahead and tell everybody where are all the places they can find you, because they need to also be ordering these.
You can find me on the Matrix, which is all of this. So Instagram, also TikTok at Steph_I_Will. Why Stuff. Forgot my own website. So whystuff.com. Go to Ignition Press, go to Mad Cave. You can order those books directly through them. Same thing with Street Sharks, your local comic book store. Like, those pre-orders matter. I post about them daily, or at least I try to. So check out my post on Instagram and it'll take you to what you need. And sometimes I'm on Blue Sky. I think it's Steph Williams. Just type my name. I have no idea how things work over there. So you should be able to find me either way. But yeah, come check me out and sign up for my newsletter.
Boom. Something I actually only did recently, because despite how many times I've been on your website, I never noticed it.
Oh, it's okay. I have not updated it since May. So I'm long overdue for an update.
But I got in here just in time.
Yes.
Ty, guess what? It's your turn.
Oh, Hi, I'm Ty. You can follow me everywhere at BLAQUE, the letter N, KULTURME. That's Black in Culture. You can Google me. I promise you, I will come up. And if I don't, my SEO is off. um, be sure to check me out everywhere on the internet. That's the only name that I am, except for Twitter, because I hate that place and I'll never go back. So yeah.
Nice. And of course, I'm your host, Natasha. Blah 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 blah. You can find me comically, and by that I mean comic books, everywhere as Midnight X Comics, except for Facebook and YouTube, where it's just Midnight Comics, and also except for Twitter because we're never going back. Or you can just find me where it's just whatever I happen to be doing in the moment at official_Toshi J. That's TOSHIJ everywhere except for Facebook and YouTube, where it's just Toshi J 89, except on Twitter because, like Ty said, we're never going back.
No.
But anyway, Stephanie, thank you so much. This episode has been so fun. Like I said, we when three of us get together, it's chaos. We knew it was going to get messy eventually.
Of course.
The fact that it only was for that little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a record. So
that's called self-restraint. That's called growth.
Exactly.
And that came in clutch.
So I say we did a great job. But I'm gonna close this out. I did do the Black Woman History Fact of the Night. Okay. Ooh. We'll close this out. Everyone remember that a small spark can lead to a big flame. And we'll see you on the next episode. Night.
Bye.
Bitch, I'm slow.